Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 6 of the anime series Gangsta. And this was just a highly revelatory episode in more ways than one, and to do with more characters than one. Of course, the sort of overarching plot, doing with the Korskins going after Monroe, it's really an extension of them going after the Cristiano family. And but of course, people are out for Monroe's blood as well. And it may or may not have something to do with his having sort of handheld the Twilights, or in this case, done things to make sure those laws get put into place and are overseen. He seems to be very much doting. That's a word they use time and again throughout the course of the series, in as far as how he reacts to Nicholas and Warwick, even though Warwick isn't a Twilight, but Nicholas, of course, is, as well as other Twilights. He's very much talking about Delico in this episode. He doesn't want Yang to just patch him up. He wants to send him to Dr. Theo, the guy who's the expert, who can make sure there isn't anything else wrong. He actually seems to have some concern for the Twilights, at least that he is surrounding himself with. And we have these, at least very sort of suspicious characters. One, we don't even know exactly who it is right off the bat, hiding in shadows in the alleyways, talking about, taking out Monroe and all of this other stuff, which just spells out an all-out war is on the horizon between these gangland factions. And that is compelling in and of itself. It's kind of riveting in and of itself. But then you have the characterization, picking up, of course, with Warwick having brought, Doug and Nick to Theo's office, and Nina is there to patch them up. And we're seeing the entire episode play out with these interspersed flashbacks. They were highly abused. I mean, they got used to the phrase, we fall down a lot. I mean, both Nicholas and Warwick, Wallace as he was known at the time, nobody cares about them. You can see that there is sort of a bond forged between them because they are each other's saving grace. They're the only ones who care or are concerned about each other. And just they're beaten time and time again. We see that actually, in Nicholas's case, we find out his father knocked up a rogue prostitute, as he put it. Then he offed her, and he's keeping the kid just on the off chance that Twilights as slaves might be saleable in the future, which is like whoa. And of course, Nicholas is getting enough of the celebrity to be able to go on the attack when the Twilight hunts are happening and people want the Twilights put to death, and there are murders going on, and we see him kicking ass even at that young age, even before he's an AO. So he has that skill. But to answer to that, you have Warwick/Wallace trying to teach him to write and to speak, and that's apparently where he gets his learning from, that bond between them both. That Warwick then also transfers into trying to study with the one volume that gets mangled that he has with sign language. He tries to learn that as well, so there can be speaking between them, and everything, and just a ground leveling between them. And it's hard not to see them as brothers. I mean, I can see why Warwick believes that they are like brothers, even though there may be some animosity on Nicholas's, side of things, where there has to be a contract. He's contracted. There's, again, dialogue, we had in the last episode where Monroe was getting that jibe in. Nicholas is only with you because of that contract. It's not he thought he was going to save a brother or family member or whatever, a friend. And that really hurts Warwick. And in this episode, he's telling Nicholas, look, don't make me have to order you to back down. Don't run in, headlong into trouble where you're going to get mangled or possibly worse, murdered, or, you're going to end up dead. He's worried about Nicholas, and Nicholas is very reckless. We see as he's waking up from his, stupor from the downers, that he's having flashes to who I'm assuming is this Veronica woman, whom he was teaching sign language and whom he must have had a relationship with, felt very close to. And we see in the final sort of vision an arm cut off, and I'm just going to assume that it's hers. And he was maybe bowing, while holding her lifeless body or something. She was on her way out. Something along those lines very tragically motivated him to become reckless. In the face of this loss, what do I really have to live for? Might be his mentality. And it almost moves me to tears just how strongly Warwick feels for Nicholas, and it's kind of lost on him because of that, because of how he has to be injected and consume this medication, and kind of, it's there to keep him in line, so to speak. He's been overdosing on it and taxing his body because he has that mentality. Like, why hold back? What reason do I have to stay put in this world? And all of this dynamic between these two characters is unfolding alongside a tragic concurrence to do with Alex. I thought maybe Theo had gone to the office and he'd made off with her, tried to get her out of there, spirit her away, try to question her about her belonging there, whether she is actually, certain that's what she wants, whether she's confident she wants to stay in this place. And in reality, we're finding out, like, the piece of paper or handkerchief, whatever it was that was folded up that he gave her. These were all aspects of keeping tabs on her, because apparently in her prostitution gig, the pimps are drugging them. Not with addictive substances, but substances enough to make them overly, they can succumb to domination and suggestion. And she's kind of tweaking off the effects of that, and she's having these hallucinogenic visions of this guy still coming after her. And she's gone out wandering. When, Warwick goes back to the office, he finds Theo. Theo explains all of this, and it's just gobsmacking, because in that moment I'm fearing for Alex. I'm like, where'd she go? What happened to her? Please tell me she didn't kill herself or something. And Warwick goes and finds her in that same alleyway. She's clutching money as though she perhaps had gone and found another client, because she is just on the brink of a psychotic meltdown, believing that pimp is still there, that he's still domineering to her, commanding to her. She falls into Warwick and, kisses him as though believing in her delusion, in her mental state, that he is the pimp. And she bows down and starts undoing his pants and, like, please don't beat me, don't hit me, I'll do what you want. Very submissive. And Warwick slams her in the head to wake her up out of it. Seems to work to a degree, after the bad day he's had, ruined shirt and all. Again, the strengthening of the bonds of these characters, much as we see in the flashbacks the bond burgeoning between Warwick and Nicholas as children. As adults, we're seeing a similar bond being forged between Warwick and at least Alex. I don't know if Nicholas, how much impact and attention Nicholas has in Alex's own mind. For her to be learning the sign language, I have to imagine that she wants very strongly to understand him or connect with him. It's much easier for she and Warwick because there isn't that divide of his being deaf and that divide of Nicholas's own personality being sort of distanced and being reckless and being just a walking lethal time bomb. And so by the end, I'm just absolutely, I felt moved almost to tears from the entire, occurrence of this story, and seeing the turmoil and the abuse that Nick and Warwick went through as children, what brought them together, what forced them together, what in all likelihood was the impetus for, Nicholas's taking out Warwick's family. They didn't care about him. They used him as a doorstop, as a wet rag. His life meant nothing to their family. Similarly was Nicholas's own plight, and so they came together. And maybe that whole idea of them having a contract between them, probably set up by Monroe, was, Warwick's way of just trying to save Nicholas the way Nicholas saved him. Don't let Nicholas be the subject to anyone else. I want to keep an eye over my savior. And, it was just a really emotional outcome for that reason, at least to me. And again with Alex, just what she's been through and how she's only just getting over that crescendo of madness and finding her humanity and doing it with the help of Warwick and Nicholas. Though they may not even be aware of it. Warwick definitely is more than Nicholas would be. But it was, to me, a really emotionally rocking episode. I really can't, say anything more about it than that. I was absolutely compelled and just brought to the brink of emotion. And I can't wait to see what happens next with this impending gangland war about to unfold. Nicholas is very much mindful of it, and he seems to be grinning like it's an exciting thing that he's going to be able to take part in. And I'm fearful with that in mind that this story can only maybe conclude with Nicholas meeting his end in some fashion. I hope that isn't the case. I would be heartbroken if that were. With all of the things surrounding him, all of the people surrounding him who are so much concerned for his well-being. Nina, Warwick, Alex in her own way, Monroe even, even though he was betting on him in the last couple episodes, to see him, be defeated by this little kid, Doug, or whatever. It's just, incredible episode, incredible series, incredible story overall, incredible characters, and wow. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 6 of Gangsta, if you've seen it, if you were as moved as I was, compelled as I was. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. Love having the conversation with you guys. And so yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Can't wait for the next episode. I will catch you all later. Peace.